Hello guys, welcome to another exciting episode on Pious Football. We bring you the latest in transfer news. We talk about tactical analysis of games and also discuss pertinent issues around football that you don't hear on mainstream European media. Now, today's stories are really packed. We have just a day to go in the transfer window, especially in England, in Spain, in France, when all the top 5 leagues in Europe. So teams are kind of rushing to complete their final deals, and a lot of talking points are coming through. So I'm just going to go right in and start my first story at the camp of UEFA. This afternoon, we had the UEFA Champions League draw for the 2023-2024 season, and also a series of awards for the past UEFA Champions League, Europa League competitions. And as always, as expected, actually, Erling Haaland of Manchester City emerged as the men's player of the year for European competitions last season. Remember, he scored a total of 12 goals in the Champions League. He also equaled the record of being a single player to score 5 goals in a single game. So I mean that the player actually had a sort of a hat-trick of trophies last season, winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League, and also winning the FA Cup. So last season was all Erling Haaland, and so it is not surprising that the player actually won the Player of the Year award for Europe. A prestigious award that has been won by a host of top players over the years. So I'm sure that this is sort of a signal that he's probably going to win the FIFA Ballon d'Or and also the FIFA Men's Player of the Year award. So let's see what happens in December. At the awards, before the awards, actually the draw, which is the talking point for everyone, Manchester City are placed in pot 1, being winners of the competition and also winners of the Premier League. They got an easy draw as always. I think Leipzig is in there and a host of other teams that I think that will be easy for City to go through the group stages. The toughest group for now looks like it's going to be Group F. As you can see on your screens, Group F, we have Dortmund, we have Newcastle United, newbies coming in to the European Champions League for the first time since 2004. And also we have in there, I think, AC Milan, and then so AC Milan, Dortmund, Newcastle, and then PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, who are the top dogs in the group. Hopefully they will qualify from the group, but it's going to be a tricky draw for Newcastle United and probably AC Milan. But AC Milan, had a very interesting transfer window with the kind of players that they bought. You are expecting AC Milan to kind of qualify from the group stages, but with these things you can't really tell. Newcastle have a very tough mentality in terms of cup competitions. So I mean, it'll be interesting in Group F. Newcastle in the AC Milan and also PSG. So it's going to be a tough draw for everyone involved. But I'm sort of tipping AC Milan and PSG to qualify from the group, but hopefully maybe Newcastle can spring up a surprise because you cannot completely disregard their abilities. They have some top talent. Also at the camp of Manchester United, we've been drawn in a group with Bayern Munich, who are some kind of favorites to win the competition. They've just signed Harry Kane. They are trying to sign Palhinha. I'll bring you news about that deal very soon. So, I mean, if you look at the group and the way things are, Galatasaray in the Copenhagen, I think we can beat Copenhagen home and away. We can actually try and, get a good draw against Bayern at home, or probably win if possible. I think we can do that. Galatasaray at home, we should win, but Galatasaray away is going to be very difficult. It's going to be a tricky trip to Turkey. So I think overall, I'm expecting us to qualify although I don't think that we might actually top the group, so it's going to be a very difficult round of 16 for us. So let's see how that goes. So overall, all the teams, I think that the top teams are likely to go through if you look at how the nature of the group is. Also, I'd like to talk about Ansu Fati now. A lot of comments online about Ansu Fati. People have already started, judging the player and making conclusions that his career is over simply because he joined Brighton on loan. But I think that these days, a lot of people are not very forgiving. People judge it too early. The player has gone through a series of two successive long-term injuries. So it's obvious that his form is going to take a hit. So if he's going to Brighton to kind of kickstart his career, get his form back before he returns to Barcelona, I think that it is actually a very good, smart move by the Ansu Fati camp, and also for Barcelona, considering the fact that Ansu Fati, Barcelona did not want to sell Ansu Fati outright. They did not want any obligation to buy or any option to buy clause in that contract that they just signed, between them and Brighton, which shows that they kind of believe in the player, the quality of the player, what the player brings on board, and they are expecting him to return to Barcelona and contribute, in a very big way. So, I mean, those of you who are concluding that Ansu Fati is a foregone conclusion, I think that we judge too early. Let's give the kid some time to recover, unless he has another big injury at Brighton. I'm expecting him to get in the minutes and then recover very fast to build that form that he has now, considering the fact that even at his worst form, even in his worst form at Barcelona last season, he is the second highest scorer for the team, behind Robert Lewandowski. So I mean, even at his worst, he ranks high, among the squad in terms of goals and assists. So I don't think that Ansu Fati's talent is gone. I don't think his football is going to suffer in the long term. I think that the Brighton move is actually very smart and is actually going to return to Barca a very bigger and better player, hopefully, if he can stay fit. And that is, I think, the challenge for him. That his main adversary in his career so far has been the series of injuries that he's had. So hopefully, if he can stay fit, I'm expecting him to do well. Also, in the camp of Chelsea, the news coming in, Chelsea are still buying. They are still buying players for the future. I don't know how many players for the future that they intend to buy. But the news coming in is that Chelsea are pursuing Gabriel Moscardo, 17-year-old from Corinthians in Brazil. He's believed to be a genius, a prodigy in the central defensive midfield role. And Chelsea want to sign this kid. Negotiations are still ongoing, but a 21 million euro bid has been made. However, it is thought that Corinthians are likely to turn down that move in favor of asking for a more cash, because the clause in the contract that the kid Moscardo, signed with Corinthians says that every kind of transfer that he does, every money that he gets from every money that Corinthians gets from selling him, he has a 20% stake in that. So, if Corinthians are going to lose 20% of whatever they are making by selling him, then I think that they are going to demand more than 21 million euros. So, let's see what happens to that deal for I think Gabriel Moscardo, that's the name, Gabriel Moscardo, from Corinthians. Chelsea want to sign the kid, but the conditions are that they will allow the player to stay in Brazil for a year, and then the player will join them somewhere next year, in the summer of next year. So let's see. If I'm sure that the deal will be completed very soon, because the player is keen to sign the contract, and also Corinthians are also trying to get as much as they can from this offer. So let's see how that goes. Also at the camp of Brentford, they are making a very ambitious signing, trying to sign Johan Bakayoko. Johan Bakayoko is a winger who plays for PSV Eindhoven. The deal is somewhere around 40 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons. Very ambitious deal by Brighton right there. PSV Eindhoven already have a replacement for Johan Bakayoko in the form of having Lozano. So, I mean, having Lozano is headed the other way to PSV Eindhoven. And so, I mean, Brentford have already concluded that deal for Johan Bakayoko. A medical will be conducted hopefully tomorrow, and then a deal will be signed before the deadline on Friday. Also, in the camp of Chelsea, another shocking signing from Chelsea right there, signing Cole Palmer from Manchester City. Remember, a Manchester City academy graduate. He was at the under 21 Euros competition that was held recently in June, where England won the competition for the first time. With some sort of talented footballers, generational players in there. They play some fantastic football, and Cole Palmer was actually at the heart of everything that happened. Everything good for that team. So Cole Palmer is actually a very important player. Mind you that he was also in the thick of affairs for Manchester City in the UEFA Super Cup that they won against, I think, Sevilla. He scored a goal in that final. So, I mean, it was kind of surprising that Man City are willing to allow Palmer to leave, but the player wanted to start in games. He feels that it is time for him to start playing in big games. Mind you, he's already 21 years old. He'll be 22 next year. So he doesn't want to wait for Pep Guardiola to start fielding him. Mind you, at City, they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of big names. So, I mean, it is actually quite understandable that Cole Palmer will want to move to a club where you have a starting place and start playing games. If he wants to, mind you, there are Euros, going to happen next year. So, I mean, he wants to join a team where he can, be considered an option by the England, manager Gareth Southgate. So, I mean, joining Chelsea, mind you, he's replacing Christopher Nkunku, who is injured, who's going to be out for about 8 months. So, I mean, it means that Cole Palmer will probably be playing in the number 10 role for Chelsea throughout the whole season. They will not be playing in Europe. So, I mean, he will have the chance to, impress in the domestic league. So let's see if that move is going to help the kid. It's rumored to be around 45 million euros, 45 million pounds plus 5 million in add-ons. So let's see how that move will materialize for Cole Palmer, how he's going to settle in at Chelsea. I'm sure he's going to do great for the team. Also, at the camp of Manchester United, the news coming in is that the crisis at left back at the club, trying to replace the injured Luke Shaw and then Tyrell Malacia, who is not going to be back very soon. I think Luke Shaw is out for 2 months. Malacia, I'm not really sure how long he will be. So, I mean, at this time, the club feel that it is prudent to replace, them with a left back, but they have always wanted someone on a short-term basis, someone who can come in for about 6 months and then go back in January to return to their team in January. So at this time, it was considered an option that Cucurella from Chelsea would come in and do that, but the negotiation hit a snag because Cucurella, although he was keen to join the team, he didn't want to join for 6 months. He wanted to join for a year. Chelsea also wanted £7 million for the loan deal. United felt that it was too much for a player who was coming for just 6 months. So the deal kind of collapsed eventually, and so they turned their attention to Sergio Regulon. Mind you, I said that Regulon was one of the options that United were looking at, from the beginning. And also, Regulon had a very good first season at Tottenham. He created very good, chances for teams to score. For the team to score, he made 6 assists in total for the whole season. And then he was loaned to Atletico Madrid. Unfortunately for him, he had a series of injuries that kept him out of the starting lineup for Diego Simeone's team. But eventually, he got his chances. getting to the tail end of the season, he finished very well. So I think that is probably the reason why United want to try and get Sergio Regulon on a short-term basis, 6 months. I think it's a good deal. The player is keen. The deal is done. Medical has just been completed, and so Sergio Regulon is going to fill in for the injured Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malacia for 6 months until the winter transfer window. Also, at the camp of Manchester United, I think this deal kind of precedes what we've been working on for the past 1 month, which is Amrabat deal. And there are a lot of rumors about this deal that are not true, and it's kind of making the fans, rival fans, United fans, all making some sort of a lot of misconceptions about the deal. Now, United want Amrabat. Make no mistake, United want Amrabat, but the problem is that we have financial fair play rules to obey. If we sign Amrabat, we are going to be sanctioned by UEFA, because as it stands now, we are in the red in terms of our finances. The deal depends on us selling some midfielders to create space on the wage bill to kind of contain the Amrabat transfer. Now, the plan at United has always been that they are going to sell Scott McTominay, Van de Beek, and Fred. Okay, and that was going to create space for us to sign Amrabat. Now, the expectations that we had has not really materialized effectively or wholly, I should say. Fred has gone to Galatasaray, yes, but we still have McTominay and Van de Beek at the club. Van de Beek had a failed move to Real Sociedad. Sociedad came back late in the transfer window with another loan option, but it was turned down by United because I think they didn't like the way Sociedad left the deal. So currently, no offer has been received yet for Van de Beek. And also, just late this evening, as I was getting into this episode, rumors came in that Fulham are trying to explore the possibility of signing McTominay. Now, mind you, that deal depends on a whole lot of other deals that I'll talk about. So I'll suspend talking about McTominay to Fulham, and then I'll talk about it very late. That will be my last story for this episode. So currently, we are exploring a loan offer for Amrabat plus an option to buy. That is what we are considering right now. The Fiorentina president has said that he is keen to help the player to move, since the player has been very determined to only join Manchester United since the beginning of June of this summer. So let's see how that move will go. I'm sure that before the Friday deadline, Manchester United will find a very good package that works for both sides, so that Fiorentina losing the player, they will have some hope that they'll get in some good money next season for Sofyan Amrabat. So let's see how that deal will materialize. I'm very hopeful that we will complete that deal very soon. Also, at the camp of Palhinha is like I said, the Amrabat deal at United is kind of depends on one or two movements in the team. Now, Palhinha, who is now João Palhinha. Those of you who don't know João Palhinha, he is a Fulham midfielder. He's Portuguese. He joined them last season for somewhere around 20 million pounds from Sporting Lisbon, I think. Yeah, and then he's had a very fantastic season. He was voted, the player of the year for Fulham last season, and now he's a subject of interest from Bayern Munich. Now, the teams, I think one team, was it Chelsea or Arsenal, wanted to sign him at the beginning of the transfer window. They quoted 80 million pounds for him. Teams are aware that you have to pay a lot, to kind of sign Palhinha. I think Liverpool tried to sign him. They offered 60 million pounds. That bid was turned down by Fulham. Now it is Bayern Munich who are trying to get the deal over the line. The player has agreed personal terms with Bayern Munich. Now, that deal was dependent on the fact that Fulham will get a replacement. Also, remember that Ryan Gravenberch is also at Bayern Munich. Now, Bayern Munich are waiting for Fulham to give the green light on Palhinha before they sell Gravenberch to Liverpool. Now, Liverpool have agreed personal terms with Ryan Gravenberch. Jurgen Klopp, the manager, has spoken to the player. The player is keen on the move. They've spoken about where he wants him to play, how he wants him to play, and his expectations. The player believes that at Liverpool he will get his playing time, which he didn't get, getting into the team from Ajax, last season. So, I mean, that deal was dependent on whether Palhinha was going to join. Now it is possible for Gravenberch to move, and the news coming in is that Gravenberch has actually made that move. 40 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons has been, agreed between Liverpool and Bayern Munich, and that the player is currently on his way to Liverpool. A medical will be completed hopefully tomorrow before the deadline day, and the deal will be signed. Now, what I am saying on Pious Football exclusively is that once the Gravenberch deal has been sanctioned by Bayern Munich, it means that Bayern are very confident that Palhinha is going to join, is going to join them. If Palhinha is going to join them, then it means that Fulham have hope, or are very hopeful, that they are going to get in a replacement, and that replacement for Palhinha is Scott McTominay, and that shows that, and I'm saying on authority on Pious Football, that it is very likely that Scott McTominay will join Fulham. Now, the player, we don't know about his personal terms being agreed. Like I said, the deal is currently in its early stages at this point, but the things could escalate very quickly. So let us keep our fingers crossed on that deal. It's going to be a swan song of movement of players, one dependent on the other. So let's see how that goes for Scott McTominay to Fulham, Palhinha to Bayern Munich, and Ryan Gravenberch to Liverpool. Interesting things going to happen at the end of the transfer window. So let's keep our fingers crossed and see what will happen with that. Also, big move coming in for Romelu Lukaku. I said it, that Roma were interested in signing Lukaku on loan. That deal has finally been completed. It is £7 million total package for a loan deal with no option to buy. The American owners wanted Lukaku. Lukaku wanted Roma, and it shows that it's going to be a very good move for the player because of the fans, that came to meet the player at the airport. It was amazing. The Roma fans are fantastic. They're going to support this player. Mind you, that he's going to have a lot of backlash from Inter Milan fans, from Juventus fans. Remember that he was slated to have, to be going to Inter Milan. He was on loan there last season. He played in the Champions League final. They blamed him. Some fans blamed him for missing very important chances. That cost them the Champions League. And so, I mean, he was planning on getting back to Inter Milan. He only wanted to join Inter Milan, but then the deal began to stall because Inter felt that Chelsea were demanding for too much money. And then along the line, Lukaku started doing back deals with Juventus. Inter heard about it. They got angry. They pulled out of the deal. Juventus, were interested in signing Lukaku. Unfortunately for Juventus, their fans decided they didn't want Lukaku. There was a massive show of, disapproval for the deal. And also, a lot of things happened that Juve felt, that deal could not happen. Mind you, they wanted to do a swap deal with Vlahovic with Lukaku, but that deal didn't happen because Vlahovic wasn't keen on the move, and Chelsea were not really. By Chelsea, Pochettino wasn't really keen on Vlahovic. He wasn't really sure about how good he would be in the Premier League. So, the deal collapsed. Now he's gone to Roma. Lukaku has joined Roma. He is now a Romanista. So let's see how that a reunion with Jose Mourinho is going to help his career. Is going to pan out for them. They are in the Europa League next season, so let's see how that deal will go. But I'm really happy for Romelu Lukaku that he's finally found a club where the fans actually love him, and I'm sure and I believe that he's going to excel at Roma. Also, at the camp of Nottingham Forest now, the news coming in is that they are interested in Ibrahim Sangare. Now, Ibrahim Sangare, the Ivorian who plays for PSV Eindhoven, he's been on the list of some top teams around Europe, but he's managed to stay put, surprisingly. So now the news coming in is that Nottingham Forest are knocking on the doors of PSV Eindhoven to try and see if they can get Ibrahim Sangare. He is valued at around 30 million euros. Which I'm sure that Nottingham Forest can very much afford. So let's see how that deal will materialize. Also, in the camp of Bakola, a French international, 19-year-old, plays for Olympique Lyon. Is a fantastic winger. He's a player that PSG have been looking at throughout the whole season. I've been following that rumor for quite some time. I didn't think it will happen. But surprisingly, PSG have finally got that deal over the line. It's been a deal 2 months in the making. PSG have pursued Bakola for some time now. The deal is done. There is rumor that the total package is somewhere around, if I am correct, it's around 45 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons for a total package of 50 million euros for Bradley Bakola. Mind you, he's been called by the new under 21 French coach, Thierry Henry has called him to the under 21 camp. This week he will be in France under 21 camp with a host of other important players for the French team. So good move for him. I'm sure he's going to excel. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be a lot of competition for places in the wings for the lad. But also at the camp of Yannick Ferreira Carrasco from Atletico Madrid has made that move to Saudi. That Saudi move. A lot of players in Spain have not really made that move yet. But slowly we are beginning to see the Saudi clubs making some moves with Spanish, players who play in the Spanish league. Now Carrasco is going to join Al Shabab. The rumor is that the fee is around 15 million euros. There are no add-ons. It's the player has signed a 3-year deal. The Carrasco is one of those players who, because of I think attitude problems, he's not really been able to play for any top club aside Atletico Madrid. But he's a fantastic player, very talented. So it's kind of sad to see him leave Europe, leave mainstream Europe. But money calls. So I guess that and everyone is going to Saudi now. So maybe it's not such a bad move for the player after all. The Belgian international, I think. He's been missing in the Belgian national team collapse for some time now. Now that he's going to Saudi, I'm not sure he's going to have any clear chances to play for the Belgian national team. So let's see how the career of Carrasco would go or will fare in Jeddah. Also at the camp of Jude Bellingham. I just wanted to talk about this very quickly. Jude Bellingham, winning the Player of the Month award in Spain. He's the first English player, the first Englishman to win the Player of the Month award in Spain. Now, mind you, English players don't usually travel, but quite a few of them have gone to Real Madrid. McManaman, David Beckham, and a host of other English players. Michael Owen was at Real Madrid. But it's quite surprising that none of them actually have won the Player of the Month award. Now, this is the first time that an Englishman is winning the Player of the Month award. He's had a fantastic first month at Real Madrid. Jude Bellingham, he scored, I think, 4 goals in total. He's saved Real Madrid from a lot of games that you feel they were on their way to drawing games. But he popped up from nowhere, nicking in goals to try and save the team. I think that like I said in one of my analysis on Piles Football before the season about Real Madrid, not having a clear striker, that they're going to struggle scoring goals. So it's kind of not surprising that Jude Bellingham is their top scorer at this point. Coupled with the fact that Vinicius is injured, he would have to be doing a lot more of that if Real Madrid are going to achieve something very substantial this season. looking at how they play, Bellingham is going to always be in the box once in a while. Not once in a while, actually. He's going to be in the box quite a while. And so, I mean, going forward, I think that he's going to have a fantastic season if he stays fit. But a lot of pressure is going to come on him now because he's scoring. He's won a Player of the Month award. A lot of expectations are going to be on his shoulders. If he doesn't score in his next 3 or 4 games, a lot of people are going to start talking. But I'm sure no one is going to blame him for not scoring because he's not a striker. But the pressure, nonetheless, is going to be there. And I think that Carlo Ancelotti will need to vary his formation a little bit to try and see if he can bring in a striker, a proper striker. Mind you, they bought Joselu for that purpose, but he's not starting games. Like I said, he's not going to start. But I think that with Vinicius out injured, maybe it's time to bring in Joselu and kind of help, Bellingham, reduce the pressure on Bellingham. Rodrigo is not a goal scorer, like I said. And so, I mean, and it's obvious that he's not scoring. He's not going to score more than 15 goals this season. So, I mean, a lot of pressure on the Englishman. He can only save them once in a while. He cannot continue keeping up with, saving them in games that, they're supposed to win, but they are kind of struggling to win games. So, I mean, let's see how it goes for Jude Bellingham. But for now, I am very happy for him. I'm very excited about that move. So let me conclude by saying that, like I said, a host of deals are happening. That depends on other deals. And as we are getting to the tail end of the transfer window, we are going to get a lot of mad rumors about players and movements. So I'm going to keep, updating you piece by piece. Tomorrow is going to be a full day. I'm going to be making very short videos about deals that are happening live, and then we'll take it from there. So thank you very much for staying with me on Pious Football. Mind you, I want you to subscribe to my channel and like the videos. The subscription is important because then you get alerts anytime I upload a new video. So thank you very much for staying with me. Bye.